What do you think about that word? Do you think about your waste once you put it out to the curb, where it goes, what happens to it? The majority of our waste goes to landfills currently. Even though we have recycle programs across countries, most of it still goes to the landfill. I'm going to talk a little bit about the design and the operation of landfills in this video. Landfill designs vary from country to country, area to area, as well as the type of waste that they may be handling. Some are polylined or specially lined, like this one here that you're seeing, where the liner is sealed. And the idea here is the majority of the water that goes through it will not penetrate into the ground. It's not 100%. That water is then captured, and that water is called leachate, and it's sent to some kind of processing facility. About 10 to 15% of operation costs can relate to the management of this leachate. There are countries where this isn't done. Another thing larger landfills operate is they manage the landfill gases. Landfill gases can be produced. Usually it's caused by high organic materials in the landfill. So you don't see this too often in rural areas or small areas where you don't have a lot of food waste or anything like that going in. Most of this is vented off or burnt off in facilities that do manage it. A lot of small facilities do not even operate or have to worry about the methane production. Once the landfill is done, it's capped and managed. This is just showing how waste is applied. You put your waste in lifts, then it's covered with cover, and then when it's done, it's capped off completely. Depending on where you are and what its goal is going to be, as to what it's going to be, as to how it's capped. And each country, each state, province has different regulations. But your goal is to minimize the amount of water going through the garbage. Getting proper cover can help with that, because you may have to handle that leachate for years and years. Estimates are 25 to 30 years even after a landfill cell is closed. So that can be ongoing. Remember that anything and everything is thrown into that, so that leachate is pretty toxic. And so it has to be tested, it has to be monitored. So just think of that when you're throwing things away. This leachate, as it goes through, can be very, very high volumes or low volumes depending on the circumstances. The gases that are produced are burned off, or bigger facilities actually have ways to capture it. And then that leachate is sent off to proper treatment or disposal, depending on where you're at and what your regulations are. Again, this cost for leachate management can be 10, 15, and I've seen it as high as 20% of your overall operating costs. It's very expensive to manage, but very important. Your goal is not to, the more water you get into waste with the organics, you can actually create more methane. So your goal is to try to minimize that. This is just showing that all liners, no matter how good you do, can leak. And so your goal is to minimize the amount of water in the bottom, so you produce or reduce hydrology. It's not pushing through the liner as much, so that's one reason we try to remove the leachate and keep it as minimal as possible. So you put your waste out to the curb, truck of some sort will pick it up, and then take it out to the landfill. Many landfills do not allow residents or small businesses to take their waste to the landfill itself proper because of the safety factors. So they'll have transfer stations or different ways to get it out there. Landfills are actually very dangerous. There's deaths every year in North America at landfills from various reasons. So you can see here the waste is dumped and then spread out. They use different techniques for doing that. The goal is to get as much waste into a cubic meter, cubic yard as possible to help minimize impact to the landfill. This is just demonstrating leachate. This lady's put garbage in a container, pouring some water through it, and just showing you how it captures all the ingredients or whatever is in the waste, and it goes to the bottom. The leachate can smell like sewage. It's very caustic. Gets on you, you're on it for a long time. This is just showing different ways of managing it. Another reason for the liners is to help manage the leachate. And more of the design and construction includes, in some facilities, gas monitoring. Um, they may include a capture where they'll burn it off, or they may um, have a way to turn it into energy. Big sites may do that. Um, the main thing is to think about the fact that this waste is there for life. Contrary to what you may think, this is going to be there forever. So our goal is to eventually recycle as much as we possibly can. Unfortunately, in bigger areas, it's cheaper to landfill than it is to recycle. Anyway, hopefully this is informative for you. You have a great day. Take care and God bless.